Okay, we're going to talk about C++ and Night 25, if you hear any music, is playing on Free Code Camp. I'll link all the things that I refer to here. Lord willing, I'll remember to do that. The first thing about C++ is just its rankings. That would be of interest. While on the PYPL Popularity of Programming Language Index, Python is number 1, up 2.2%. I notice C and C++ is ranked 6th at 5.56%, down by 0.4%. That's October 2020 compared to a year ago. That's according to this index created by analyzing Google searches for language tutorials. The TOB Index of Popularity, October headline, Python is getting closer to the second position. So on there, C is number 1, up from being number 2 the previous year, and C++ stays at 4th. The rating is 6.94%. Percent change is plus 0.71%. The ratings are based on the number of skilled engineers worldwide, courses and third-party vendors. Popular search engines such as Google, Bing, Yahoo, Wikipedia, Amazon, YouTube, and Baidu are used to calculate the ratings. So it's number 4 on the TOB index. If we look at Red Monk, let's see, Free Code Camp is playing We're a Melody, Days of Contrast When Life Was Simpler. All right, Red Monk. Let's see, so the process. It compares, Red Monk seems to compare Stack Overflow and GitHub. So I like making the chart bigger. You'll see that on GitHub, if you go up, C++ is in the upper right-hand corner here. And it's also on Stack Overflow. So it's basically GitHub's the X coordinate and Stack Overflow's the Y coordinate, it looks like. And so both GitHub and Overflow demonstrate that C++ is very popular, although Python is more popular. And if you want just a straight down the line approach, beside the plot, they have JavaScript at 1, Python at 2, C++ at 5, and C at 10. Stack Overflow, what they did was they had a survey of all the respondents. JavaScript ended up being first. Things like SQL is 54%, while JavaScript was 67.7%. C++ is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down at 23.9%. And C is 11 down at 21.8%. So some of them seem to put C and C++ together because they're related. And that would put it at roughly, probably up closer to 5th or 6th like in the other settings. If you're interested in the salary, Perl is number 1 in globally with Scala at 76K, and C++ is 53K, which really isn't much. I mean, you can work many regular jobs without spending all the time learning that and make that salary. And C is 50K. So that's globally. And in the United States, Scala 150K, Go 140K. Kotlin 130K, C is 125K, and C++ down at 120K. So, I mean, if you want to make a lot of money, C++ is not nowhere near the top up there, you go into Scala and Go, look like really the most high-paying ones. Now, C++ and C are most operating systems, according to jabru.blogspot.com back in 2012, 8 years ago, when C++ probably was more popular. The operating systems, a lot of them were written using that. A lot of the web browsers were written using that. Things like Microsoft Office and OpenOffice back then. Even Facebook, YouTube, Amazon, and PayPal were using C++. Multimedia players like VLC and Apple iPod and Windows Media Player. Compilers, let's see, games, it's known. C++ is known to be quicker, faster running, so a lot of games like to use that. Adobe, just I'll link this, and there's a whole list of stuff back then that it was used for. So back in 1979, this is trytoprogram.com. In 1979, hopefully I say his name right, Stroustrup started to work on C with classes in Bell Labs. And in 1983, C with classes is renamed to C++. In 1985, you got the first edition of the language. The first ISO standard, C++ 98, was released in 1998. You also have C++ 03, C++ 11, C++ 14, and 2017, C++ 17. So the history goes back to 1979. Stroustrup began to work on C with classes, which, as the name implies, is meant to be a superset of the C language. Supposedly his goal was to add object-oriented programming into the C language. And according to this at cplus.com, it's still a language well respected for its portability without sacrificing speed or low-level functionality. Right? The difference is Python is a higher level language. One of the differences. In 1983, the name of the language was changed from C with classes to C++, where the ++ operator in the C language is an operator for incrementing a variable, which gives some insight into how Stroustrup regarded the language. In 1985, Stroustrup published a reference called the C++ programming language. And in 1990, the annotated C++ reference manual was released. 1998, the Standards Committee published the first international standard. That's C++ 98. Now, if you compare the Stack Overflow for Python and C++, you will notice the, let's see if I can get this up bigger. The orange line goes up for Python, up to close to 14% of the Stack Overflow from 4% in 2009, while C++ was at about 5.5% on Stack Overflow in 2009 and finished at about 3% in Stack Overflow around 2020. I'll link this article, which talks about differences between Python and C++. One thing, though, is that Python is slower, while C++ is faster than Python, which explains some of the preferences for C++. But you'll see again, even Guru99.com lists the Python salary for a developer at $120,000, while the average for C++ at about $108,000. And that's just an average, so you can be lower or greater than that. That's just the middle. If you look at news.ycombinator.com, about 47 days ago, it says C++20 has been approved. If you go to the reddit.com, is it worth buying the current edition of one of the canonical textbooks, C++ programming language, C++ primer, given that C++20 is about to be released? Okay, that was about 7 months ago that was asked. And the response was, people are still adopting C++ 11, 14, and 17. C++20 will take a while to get full compiler support and adoption. Okay, so it looks like they're heading towards C++20. In fact, in this, if you look here, this article, C++ is the fastest growing programming language in September 2020. That sounds fancy, but all that means in the TOB index, if you look at the percent change, you'll see C++ has 1.48%, while, say, for example, C# is 1.18%, or PHP goes up by 0.62%. So C++ has stayed at fourth between 2019 and 2020, and C has moved up from second in 2019 to 1 in September of 2020, while Python has stayed at third. He credits the reason why there's that plus change recently is the adoption of C++20. He said one of the plausible reasons behind this sudden surge of interest in C++ is the arrival of C++20. And he talks about some features that were added there. I'll link this article too. Still on Free Code Camp at Cloud Steps, El Indices Plethora. So I hope that was interesting about C++. Thank you for listening.